Hello and welcome to One United. My name is Partho Joshi and I'm here along with Anshuman today talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, Manchester United, Christian Eriksen being finally announced and Frenkie De Jong situation. Uh, First of all, a very warm welcome to Anshuman. Some troubled times at United, a little bit, or everything working in favor right now?
Well, the troubled times are the ones we brought upon ourselves, as I've kept saying about it. Like it's the tale of two Christians. One is very happy to be here. The other one could not wait to get away. Well, it is
As
what
of
it
now.
is. We have talked about it as for a long time, and this is we voluntarily signed ourselves up for this. Whatever when we brought him back, and I would I have to say that I can't really feel any kind of sympathy for Manchester United right now. It is what it is, and we are getting exactly what we deserve, not only on the pitch but off it as well.
Yeah, we have somehow brought this upon ourselves, and it's it's almost amusing to see how our fan base completely shifts in a span of 7 days from being happy and upbeat about the season coming forward to just saddened by the things that are going on. We'll talk about the game that happened first, the preseason game against Aston Villa. The game was a draw, a 2-2 draw. We considered it in the final minute of the game, almost the last kick of the game, to make it 2-2. And uh, it was a howler, in my opinion. But we'll talk more about the game first. What do you think about the preseason friendly between United and Aston Villa? We'll also talk about the pitch, but what did you think about the game in general?
I mean, that was a really horrendous pitch, and I'm just glad that we didn't suffer any big injuries because that was my greatest concern the whole time. And as far as our performance is concerned, I think we saw more of what the good Ten Hag has been doing with the players. And the bad was essentially what we have seen over the past 2 seasons. United getting caught out in the attack. Luke Shaw was found out of position, which is also understandable because he gets found out of position quite a lot when he's not on form, and second, with this whole instructional thing that he's been asked to do, from going from wide to go to becoming an inverted fullback in attack. So it is going to take time. It was also, let's be pretty honest, it was a well taken goal by Leon Bailey. He has that in him, and so full credit to him there. The second goal was more of a De Gea mistake. I wouldn't really call it a mistake because it's quite quintessential De Gea at this point. We know this he has that in him, and to be perfectly fair to him, because it would be unreasonable to not do that. He has been trying to do a lot of things that he hasn't is not really used to. He has been trying
In
to
in the
come off
in
his
the
line.
previous seasons,
He,
in the previous few seasons
yeah,
at
yeah.
least.
Because in the starting few games he has been trying to come off his line. He has been trying to be proactive in the game and try to distribute the ball as quickly as he can, as accurately as he can. But this is something goes back to the discussion we were having the season before last, and we were having he quite a lengthy discussions of regarding whether we should keep Dean Henderson or David De Gea, and everyone was going on about, oh, David De Gea is a club legend, we really cannot let him go. And I was making this point at the time that sometimes you need to make hard decisions, and United don't really have anyone at the club making hard decisions. And part of those hard decisions is making peace with the fact that even your biggest legends need to leave after a while. And that was the time, I think, when David De Gea should have been replaced. I think Solskjaer, to a degree, wanted Dean Henderson to become the number one goalkeeper, but also at the start of last season, Dean Henderson caught COVID, and the way United started, De Gea felt so crucial to United's uh, any chances of winning the games that he really kept his place in the team. So just things panned out the way they did, and because Manchester United never really made that decision for them, for themselves, this is the situation we are in now. Because Manchester
And
United never really made that decision for them, for and
hello.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Am I audible now? I was hearing my
Yes,
own
yes,
voice.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, so what we are stuck now with is a 31-year-old goalkeeper who, for the most part of his life, has been coached in a completely different play, has played in a completely different way. And the things that we talk about in the most simplest of terms is that he is a bit too traditional for the modern day game that is required by a goalkeeper, especially the game that has changed so much ever since Edison and Ellison have arrived on the scene. And De Gea, to his credit, has been trying to do that, to play a bit more proactively, to play like a modern day goalkeeper. That is not what he was coached in. That was not he has played for the entirety of his career. So it is very unlikely for him to be able to completely change his game. But this is how Ten Hag wants to play, and he is our de facto number one goalkeeper now that Dean Henderson is off to Forest for the season. So we have to trust him, we have to back him, and we have to see how frequently these mistakes are made, because mistakes will be made. He will make these mistakes quite frequently in the season. We just need to make sure that they don't happen too frequently, because if that happens, then we will need to make another. There will be time to make another hard decision, because Dean Henderson is going to play in the Premier League at the same time, and I think he's going to impress no matter what happens ahead of him. I think he's going to impress as a goalkeeper. So De Gea has a very crucial season in front of him. Circumstances have left him in this situation, and now he needs to make sure that he is able to perform in such a way that Tom Heaton is not required to become the number one goalkeeper in his stead. So let's see. Let's see. It is what it is. We can't really do much about it, and I can only hope that he does not make a lot of howlers.
Yeah, because it was not only the Villa game, in the game before that as well, something similar happened, and I in particular was quite frustrated about it because we shouldn't be conceding these kind of goals if we are to challenge for titles and if we are to really go for it in a big way, and which looks likely the case because there are meetings being held. We will talk about that as well with Cristiano Ronaldo and his
I just got
camp.
back.
And right now, the situation as it is that United might be showing substance to Cristiano Ronaldo at the present moment because the meetings are ongoing right now. He has been snapped coming to Carrington with George Menz, and that is another topic we need to talk about. De Gea will talk about at length when the time comes. But right now, let's talk about the whole Ronaldo situation because at the moment he's having meetings at Carrington with Eric Ten Hag and team. He's being convinced to uh, change his trajectory of career to stay at United because he wants an out right now as things stand. What do you think? Is it all that he wants to go out, or is it more of like he's trying to put pressure on United because he's not getting away from getting any other option else than United? He's just trying to uh, assert his authority in Ten Hag's team as much as possible with these meetings and whatever your opinion is, please.
So I think as far as Cristiano is concerned, it's very understandable. We talked about this previously as well, that he wants away. And if you were in his situation, if I were in his situation, I would want away as well. If I would be 37 years of age with very few years left in me, and I would want as many chances as I can at the top of the game. And I would want to have those chances and perform at that level to be able to make sure that I keep getting chances to perform at that level as long as I want. And understandably, he knows that one season of Europa League is not going to help him in any way, because so here's the thing that understandably Cristiano wants away, but I think he grossly overestimated how much other clubs might want him, and he because the I think going into the preseason when he was not showing up, which is also something we need to address, because people are quite torn about it. People are understandably overblowing this whole thing. Oh, he's completely deserted the club, and I think we can be rational about this because he asked for personal reasons to not show up. And look, there is a b- bit of truth to that as well, because let's not forget he suffered his family suffered a miscarriage last season, and he continued playing without missing any days. So for him to be
Mm.
wanting away for personal reasons, it's very understandable. But also, it's both of those things are true, because it's very understandable why he would want away, and it's
And
also
what
understandable that he would want
that
some
also
time away.
that also happened in the final leg of the season. It was just before the
Yeah,
Liverpool
it
game
did. It,
that
it,
it
it was
happened.
quite recent, and understandably, he wanted some private time. So both of those things are true. And the only problem is he's now realizing that all those top clubs that could potentially give him the opportunity have quite moved on from the kind of football that used to befit him. and Chelsea was his best
Is
bet
it
because Todd Bowley really
is
wanted
it
him.
is it
Uh,
is it more of the football, or do you think it's more of a financial thing?
it's more of a football thing because look, Cristiano Ronaldo does bring a lot of good things. He's not a stupid player. He's not a bad player. He scored 20 plus goals last season in a dysfunctional United side. We have discussed the details in it later, but that is just a fact. And if you put him in the center of a team, he obviously will become the focal point and he will score the goals. None of that is untrue. The thing is that a lot of that, what comes with Ronaldo, like all this noise that we are seeing Manchester United are having to deal with, this is not helping Cristiano's case at all because other clubs are looking at it and they are realizing, okay, this is what we're going to have to deal with. So the whole noise that comes with Cristiano and having to play him, not having to play him, everything becoming about him both on and off the pitch, he demanding to play every single game, the exorbitant wages, all of that as a package becomes a problem. Now there are a lot of positives. He is a very good player and he could be a positive influence on the team if he's feeling it, if the team is feeling it, and if the circumstances are right, if it's a healthy club environment, and when you are in the later half of the Champions League, you need someone with mental fortitude that Cristiano Ronaldo offers. The problem is that you cannot have it in isolation. One, you don't get this Ronaldo without all of the other negatives that come with him. And the overall encapsulated package of Cristiano is an overall negative, which what the other clubs realize. Other clubs with people with any level of football intelligence. And obviously, Manchester United doesn't have that. So we know why he's back here. Uh, I think Cristiano, if he ends up staying at Manchester United, I think he needs to have very serious conversations with George Mendes because I understand why he wanted to leave Juventus. And I also believe that Manchester City were at a moment, to a certain degree, were interested in him. But I think George Mendes, I genuinely believe he played a blinder here by bringing him to Manchester United because he knew United would take the bait essentially, and they did. I just I don't know how Cristiano feels about all of this because this has made very hard for him. Things very hard for him, and I think what he's currently discussing at United is that if he can be allowed to go for free. So because Atletico Madrid have emerged as a serious team who could consider Cristiano if they don't have to pay money for him and he take significant wage cut. And at this moment in his career, Cristiano doesn't really need money. He earns a lot more off the pitch than he does on the pitch anyway. So that is something he could do if he did not have to deal with a lot of the transfer. So I think this is what he's trying to do in the Carrington meeting. That's why George Mendes is there as well. He's trying to have those discussions. He's trying to convince United to let him go for free. And
I think we have lost Anshuman here, so I'll continue on my own right now. We were talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, and as things stand, things don't look pretty good. I see some of you watching us live. If you have any comments for us, हिंदी में भी अगर आपको कमेंट करना है तो आप कर सकते हैं. If you want to do it in English, you can do it. Uh, Please comment on the video on the live chat, and I'll be able to pick it up from there. We can have a conversation about Manchester United, and we can have a conversation regarding uh, Cristiano Ronaldo, Frankie De Jong, or Christian Eriksen. As things stand, Cristiano Ronaldo is having a meeting with Eric Ten Hag at Carrington right now, and things are getting pretty nitty gritty right now. Uh, do you guys think Ronaldo should stay? Do you think he will stay? If you have any views upon it, please comment down below. Uh, I think, in my personal opinion, Cristiano Ronaldo will stay at least this season. I don't think United would let him go for free. Anchovian was talking about it that Atletico Madrid could sign him, but they don't want to pay an upfront fee for him, and United won't accept that Ronaldo moves on for free. I think Anshuman is back with us. I'll let him join, and then we can talk more. Anshuman is here with us. So Anshuman, we were talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, and we were talking he wants to go for free. But in my humble opinion, I don't think United would let him go for free. I don't think that's feasible for him. Or something like that could happen that he'll have to pay United on from his own pocket to make himself available on the market. That is an option, but I don't think United want that as well. For that to
Hmm.
happen, but I don't. United aren't that stupid to let him go for free, especially with a key year on his contract and with them paying 10 million plus for him to Juventus the last year as well.
Also, the thing to keep in mind is that the agreement that United have with Juventus is of 5 years. It's 15
Yes.
million euros plus 8 million euros in bonuses. That's a 5 year agreement. So Manchester United also need to figure out that if we are not going to get this money, how exactly do we pay Juve? So it's that is I think that is the crux of the discussion that's been having. And apparently the reports say that David Gale and Sir Alex Ferguson coming at Carrington was preempted, pre-planned. It wasn't supposed to be about Cristiano. I don't really buy that for a second. I'm not really sure what exactly. I've always said that, including Sir Alex Ferguson in present-day meetings, it really undermines the on manager at the helm. It doesn't really help the situation. And getting rid of the ghosts of the past also means reducing Sir Alex Ferguson's executive powers at the club. I know it's blasphemy to go after him, but I'm trying not to go after him. I'm just saying that if you do continue doing this, it's not only fair to Sir Alex who has to do this in his 80s, having done everything for United in his entire career, and now it doesn't really help Ten Hag either because he's sitting there, he's trying to fix a team, and now he's having to deal with this one person who's essentially a celebrity and bigger than the club. And United have obviously put themselves in this situation when they begged heaven and hell to essentially bring him back. So this is the situation they are in. United, as like I said at the start of the show, United have brought this upon themselves. Can't really find any kind of sympathy for them because from day one I have always maintained that this was the whole thing was going to the dogs as soon as it could, and it has. So I understand Ronaldo's stance. I hope that he gets to go to a Champions League club and gets to do his thing. As far as I'm concerned, my concern is Manchester United. I want us to do better. And Ten Hag has obviously been very diplomatic about the whole thing. If Ronaldo is to stay, I think he will find a plan for him. And I think at the end of the day, if
But
you
I think
remove episode,
Ten Hag wants Ronaldo in his team. I think Ten Hag
I
wants
think
Ronaldo in his team by the looks of it.
I think if you were to ask him in confidence without any cameras and if he were to go off record, I think he would say that if he were to create a long term plan, he would much rather not have Cristiano because Cristiano the player is fine. You can for one talk to him and tell him that okay, instead of 60 you play 40, 30 to 35 to 40 games a season, you play the latter half of the Champions League and latter half of the season, you'll still end up scoring 15 plus goal, everyone will be fine because this is something that Zinedine Zidane could manage with Cristiano. But the only difference at the time was Real Madrid were winning Champions League, Cristiano was scoring 30 plus goals, and Zinedine Zidane could essentially just tell Cristiano, look, I have been a superstar in my day as well, shush and sit down. And he would listen to him because obviously it's Zinedine Zidane. So no one really questioned it at the time. I don't think Eric Ten Hag can have that kind of man management powerful on Cristiano, but I can definitely think that he will have the upper hand, especially after the preseason that has gone. Because had Cristiano shown up on day one, and had he been diligent in training, I think he would have had maintained a lot more power over Ten Hag than Ten Hag would have over him. But now that he has not gone, and part of it is personal, and part of it is also because he wants away. So now that he's come back because he's out of options, not because he wants to stay at Manchester, because he's out of options. His hand is like quite in the open, and Ten Hag can just simply say, "Look, you have played your hand, and now it's time to play mine." So I think he would want to start with the preseason team like Martial, Sancho, and Rashford starting. I think he will reintegrate Cristiano in the team if he is to stick around, and I think he will find use for him. And Ronaldo, if he stays, if he plays, he'll score those 15 to 20 goals, and some few of them will be match winners. And United fans will forget it in no time. That is not an issue because these are the same fans who were burning Ronaldo's shirt when there were news of him going to
When
City.
yeah,
They were praying for him when he came back. So it's people forget very quickly. That is not an issue. But the issue is for Manchester United to sort this thing out.
football
And
fans are fickle, as I always say. It's very
all
fickle.
football fans are fickle. It's not just a United thing. Yes, very true. And so yeah, that side will help itself out. And as far as Ten Hag is concerned, I think if he were to ask to be asked in confidence, he would say that I would much rather have a player with less noise around him. And but I think he's played it well enough diplomatically to be able to reintegrate Cristiano if that happens. I think he definitely is a player. We have to see how he deals with, because it's not just Cristiano, it's also Manchester United. There's always noise around us, so we'll see how that pans out. That's all really we can say.
Yeah, there's always noise around Manchester United as a club and the players which are associated or somehow related to Manchester United. And that is also the case with another player, that is Christian Eriksen. We'll talk about him now. He's been announced officially. Some clips have been shown on the website, on YouTube, and on social media. I'll take your thoughts about it. How do you feel about Christian Eriksen finally coming to United? We wanted him, I think, earlier as well, but he has come to United in a very different scenario, in a very different environment, as a very different player. So, how do you feel Christian Eriksen will fit into Ten Hag's team? Or how much do you think he'll fit into Ten Hag's team? Anshuman? Oh, he got stuck. So I think I'll have to talk again for a while. So for me, Christian Eriksen is a significant signing. I think it'll provide us options in the midfield. He can play as a replacement for Bruno Fernandes when needed. He plays in similar roles. Uh, there's also a situation regarding Donny van de Beek, because he has been okayish in the preseason. How will they use Bruno Fernandes, Van de Beek, and Christian Eriksen is an answer many people are looking for. Do they use Lisandro Martinez as another player who could play a CDM role with Varane and Maguire at this centre back positions? We'll have to wait and see regarding that, because as things look, Delaw is going to be the right back that plays for Ten Hag at least this season, with the left back being Luke Shaw and uh, the new signing Malaysia. So let's hope that we have a solid team going forward. As things stand, the Cristiano Ronaldo thing, I think it will solve by today. I think he'll stay, because I don't think United would let him go for free. I don't think Atletico are willing to pay a fee for Cristiano Ronaldo, and he'll have to play a Europa League season. I don't know how much fair that is on Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't know how many fans want this to happen, but I think this is going to happen. We'll have Anshuman in a short while back with us, and then we can talk about the Frankie De Jong situation, because I want to talk with him rather than me ranting on about it. Christian Eriksen is a special scenario. I wanted his opinion as well. His net got disconnected, and he'll be back with us. It will be very helpful if you guys can comment. I'm waiting for anybody to comment, but I don't see any comments. Although 5 people are watching us live right now, please, guys, if you are watching and if you have something interesting to talk about, please do comment. It will give us material to talk about. It will be more of an interactive सेशन देन अगर आप एक हिंदी व्यूअर हैं तो आप हिंदी में भी कमेंट कर सकते हैं. There is no uh, what you can say divide regarding the language. And Anshuman is back with us now. I think his internet issues
Yeah,
got resolved. Uh, and Vaibhav Swade is with us. He is asking alternative to FDJ. We'll talk about FDJ now, but first let me pick your thoughts about Christian Eriksen. Anshuman, if you can hear me, please, because Christian Eriksen has been formally announced. He comes as a very different player. I was saying this. He comes at a very different time to United. We wanted him earlier as well, but that wasn't possible. If you have something for us, can you please elaborate on that? Anshuman, can you hear me, Anshuman?
uh, okay, could you take away for a while? I try connect back.
I think you are still persistent. I'll talk more about Christian Eriksen, and let's talk about Frankie de Jong, because we have a comment regarding it. Vaibhav is with us. Alternative to FDJ. I think two players in particular are being seen as alternatives. One is Yuri Telemans from the Leicester City because he only has 1 year on his contract, and I think that should be the prime focus for Manchester United because he is one player who is an excellent ball player, who can play a similar role to Frenkie De Jong, and they also come in comparatively lesser money because he only has 1 year on his contract. Is all Although I wanted Frankie de Jong, although United wanted Frankie de Jong as the marquee signing of the summer, but I think it's now time that they shift their focus. Although it's also a question regarding Frankie de Jong's want to come to United because I don't think he wanted to come to United. I don't think he wanted to leave Barcelona, and that is being shown with the things that are going regarding regarding the whole situation with his team not letting him go, his salary thing, and we'll talk more about it as Anshuman joins us. Anshuman, uh, and what do you think regarding Christian Eriksen as a player? In a short bit, then we'll talk about Frankie De Jong because Vaibhav is with us and he's talking about it.
Yeah, I'm really happy that he's finally announced, and I hope he gets to play. Reportedly, we are playing Wrexham in a behind the doors friendly. I hope he gets to play as soon as he can, and I hope he features more in friendlies in the future friendlies because I think if and when Frankie De Jong's transfer fails, and we categorically know that he's not coming, he will become the de facto number one choice to play in that role because our priority is to
Do
pair
you think?
in. Mhm.
Do you think we'll sign someone else like Yuri Elements because Vaibhav was asking about this alternative to FDJ?
So
Do you think we'll sign someone like Yuri Elements if we are not able to
with
get
Yuri
Frankie?
Tielemans in particular, I am not quite sure because Arsenal are very closely linked to him. They are actually quite close to his signature. And what's currently looking project wise is that Arsenal are quite far ahead than Manchester United, and they look like they have most of their pieces together and they are actually ready to make a run for it. Whereas Manchester United are once again back on square one and still trying to find their way around everything. And everything regarding Manchester United right now is we'll have to see how this pans out. While with Arteta and with Arsenal, things are
There's a
looking
certain
quite bright.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
certain
So there is a plan brewing there, and I think if it comes down to him, he'll choose Arsenal. And so that is my worry with Yuri Tillman. And as far as like replacement Frankie De Jong is concerned, it's really hard because first of all, Frankie De Jong is 25 years of age, so it's a matter of that age profile. Someone that can guarantee you those 6 7 years at the top at the very least. Then it comes about his the way he plays. He's not only good at progressing the ball up front, he's also very good at passing the ball. And the way you see he moves around, it just you just know that he's that kind of a player who could control the midfield. So that is a very unique profile of a player. And all of that, when you take all of that into consideration, a player who has played under Erik Ten Hag, so Erik Ten Hag could unequivocally trust him to be his general in midfield, and the age and the kind of player he is. That kind of player does not exist. A replacement for that player does not exist. There is always going to be something lacking. Even with Yuri elements, you could say that okay, the passing is there, the pro ball progression is there, but not to that extent. And the amount of understanding that Ten Hag has of Tielemans and vice versa is also not there. So that is one example. There are like that, which is why I was saying that I think with our midfield, the first and foremost priority is if we are going to play proactively, we need a player who could interpret the half spaces, who could drift out wide even in a midfield role when the full backs are drifting in, inverting. So, so we need that who could someone who could create that control. And Christian Eriksen already becomes one of our best midfielders because he just has that quality. And I think there is a lot of when we are comparing what Frankie De Jong would have. Christian Eriksen who has those Ajax principles. He came through the academy, so I think Erik Ten Hag will have a relatively easier time to work with him. I don't think he will have the same impact as Frankie De Jong would have had, and I don't want to impose on him the same kind of pressure Frankie De Jong would have had as well. So I think Eriksen is already the fact that we have Eriksen is already quite decent, and we may go in for another player. But I'm just worried that United might end up waiting this entire window for Frankie De Jong, and he has made it perfectly clear that he does not want to come. And I'm just not. Ideally, you would say that let's not go after a player that does not really want to come. But Barcelona are also in a weird situation because they want to sell him, and they are also giving him as many messages as they can without openly admitting that we want this player gone, because they really need him off his wage bill. And even if he does reduce his wages furthermore, it will be Barca will still be looking to shed off a lot of weight. So the way they are treating Frankie De Jong, and he's still all for it. He still wants to stick around. You ideally you would want to say that Manchester United should get away from this, but that kind of a profile that Frankie offers just does not exist in any other player. Obviously, the names are popping up again. Tielemans is one. Fabian Ruiz is one. And Sergei Milinkovic-Savic, obviously, there is no transfer window without him.
Ruben Neves, do you
So,
think Ruben Neves is
Ruben,
someone United would persist with?
Ruben Neves, again, his ball progression is he's not that much of a player. He's a lot more static than Frankie de Jong. And
Yeah.
one of the problems Wolves have is while they're very good at dictating the midfield is not very dynamic. When you compare João Moutinho and Leander Dendoncker and Ruben Neves being the kind of midfielders that dictate the tempo. They are very good on the ball midfielders. They can dictate the tempo, but when it comes to transitions, they're not the most proactive one. When it comes to directly taking on the opponents and moving the ball upward, I don't think they are they are direct replacements. Again, Ruben Neves would be another one very good at controlling the midfield, but again, he does not really fit that profile that Ten Hag is looking for. So there will be compromises. And if United are to hypothetically, if United are to go for them, I think Ten Hag would have to switch his plan a lot more, which I think he's sort of have to do right now anyway, because right now
Right
he
now,
doesn't
yeah.
have the midfield he wants, because he
And
has tried a
Premier
few
League is
things
about
out.
to start in 10 days. Premier League is about to start in 10 days. So,
It is. So it is quite a quandary. So which is why I'm saying that I think that Christian Eriksen has arrived. I think he immediately becomes part of his plans. As far as I'm
hmm.
concerned, the first choice midfield three from what we've seen in preseason and from what we have seen with Christian Eriksen's arrival, I think Eriksen and Fredge along with Bruno Fernandes will make our midfield three. And I would like Charlie Savage and Zidane Iqbal to get as many chances in Europa League as they can, because if they impress in the group stages of the Europa League, then they could get the chances in the Premier League in the second half of the season as well. And Zidane Iqbal and Charlie Savage, funnily enough, they both altogether provide the package that Frenkie de Jong would offer in one person. Because Charlie Savage, from what we have seen, positionally, okay, he's lacking a bit, but also he's very young, so that's understandable. But his passing is quite delicious, and Zidane Iqbal is a very good ball progressor. He's coming back, he comes back, takes the ball up to all the defenders. He runs at players, and he's very confident, and he's very able to do that as well. And we saw that with Nemanja Matic had that ability as well. And so Zidane is showing that quite soon at his career. So that is something that is quite positive. So I want those two guys to stick around and get as many chances as they can. But as far as our first choice midfield is concerned, I think leading up to the Brighton game, I think even Ten Hag would want to incorporate as quickly as he can Christian Eriksen alongside Fred and Bruno Fernandes. And as soon, I don't think this will happen very often, but because in the last match we saw Alex Telles playing as a defensive midfielder, and
Yeah.
in the match before that we saw Alex Telles playing as a left-sided centre back. I think the reason for that was because Ten Hag wanted to see how United would play out the back with a left-footed, technically adept player in the defensive setup. And now, because he has tried Alex Telles in centre back and midfield, it makes me think whether he would try Lisandro Martinez in midfield for occasional games, not most of the time, because I think most of the time we'd want the whole point of having a left-sided centre back at the left is to have that kind of trajectory the ball goes in when you offer the passes from the left foot to the left-sided players, when you offer the long balls on the other flank. I think because that is why he's already switched Harry Maguire on the right, because I think he's his first choice player on the right as far as ball progression is concerned, and Lisandro Martinez would be the one on the left. And I think in select matches he might want to put Lisandro Martinez as a number six, because he has played that position. And in a few matches in where he thinks a left-footed defensive midfielder who could spring the passes and be a lot more proactive and adept at playing defensive midfield situations. So that looks like an option. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see how frequent that becomes, if at all. But yeah, the first choice midfield I think is Christian Eriksen, Serge, and Bruno Fernandes. We can go after other players, but no player directly fits that profile. I mean, even Jacob Ramsey of Aston Villa has a bit of qualities that Frenkie De Jong could offer as far as ball progression and arriving late into the box is concerned. But again, no like-to-like replacements exist. So we have to accept that. And
Vaibhav is
I
asking
gladly
about
accept.
thoughts on preseason performance. Then he has
Yeah, I
another
mean, it
question.
is.
What will you prefer? I think it's regarding the system and the kind of player that will fit the bill for Frankie De Jong if he doesn't arrive.
So I think the system that Ten Hag is going for right now is 4-2-3-1, and our
Yeah.
midfielders are going to have the hybrid roles. I mean, Fred will have the number six, number eight
Do you
hybrid
think
role.
we have the fullbacks that he wants to play? Like because Malaysia is a player that fits the bill for Ten Hag. Do you think Diogo Dalo will fit him as a proper what you can say? We used to call a box to box midfielder. This is a box to box fullback we're talking about almost. Uh, because
I
he wants that kind of a player. Do you think Diego Dalo will fit the bill like that?
I think technically Diego Dello has it more than Wan Bissaka or Ethan Laird or Brendan
Yeah.
Williams have.
But
Because
the defensive thing is a little shady on Telos' part. I think attackingly he's pretty good.
so a bit yes, but also to look on the other side, Diogo Dalot, the only proper season he has had with Manchester United last season, and
Yeah,
before that, I think for AC Milan he did quite a decent job, and they were genuinely interested in him. And
yeah.
I believe in their scouting. They have brought on some very good players, and even after that they did not get Dalot, the likes in Pierre Kalulu and Theo Hernandez. They have quite a
But
decent eye for
don't you think
fullbacks.
that's the
So
difference? That's the difference between the kind of football that Serie A plays and the kind of the pacey, fast football that Premier League plays. There's a difference regarding that. That Delo is far more comfortable or looked far more comfortable in Serie A rather than in Premier League.
I think there is a bit of truth to that. It's not without it's not an unproven thing. It's not a thing that it's not a stereotype that exists without any fact. But I think it's too overblown for Diego Dalot to not be able to work this out. I think he's as far as the right back options are concerned, he's the only proper right back who could even try to attempt the things that Ten Hag is asking him to. And
Hmm.
there are a lot of things Manchester United's squad is lacking. I mean, we could be here all day when we talk about from goalkeepers to defenders to
Yeah,
forwards
yeah.
and all. So yeah, priorities need to be looked at. And right back is a bit of a concern because if Dallo gets injured, there are no options that can provide us any
Okay,
kind of
we're
cover.
talking about a 4-2-3-1, right? According to you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Vaibhav is asking this: what will be our preferred 4-2-3-1 combination? Who do you think are going to be the playing 11?
So David De Gea, because unless he makes too many mistakes, then I think Tom Heaton will be brought in. So David De
Tom
Gea, Harry
Heaton.
Maguire on the right. Uh, what other options do we have? We have already sent Endo
I
on
don't
loan. So
think they is being replaced by anyone in this season. He'll get a full season.
we'll see. But I think if it gets too faulty on his part,
I don't
we
think
can
that will
only
be
say let's see.
okay. Yeah, I don't think that will come
Yeah,
to, but let's see.
yeah. So on the right side we'll have Maguire, left we'll have Lisandro Martinez. Luke Shaw will be the starting fullback, but again, if he
So
finds
Varane
himself
won't
not being
play
able
an
to
active part, according to you.
look, I think Varane is not a proactive defender. I think when you consider playing out from the back, Varane does not fit that bill. Varane was quite in. I think in Solskjaer's idea of a midfield defensive pairing, it made sense because there wasn't a lot of instructional coaching going on there, and I think limited to what idea we had at the time, Rafael Varane made a better combination with Harry Maguire than Lindelof did in that system. So
Hmm.
when we are talking about playing out from the back and having centre backs who can control the ball, who can dictate the play from the back, who can win those long balls, Varane does not have that. He is quite reactive, and He's very capable of covering up for the defensive in transition. But all his injury concerns were very visible from day one. Last season, he suffered from that a lot. But last season, United were all over the place anyway. So last season is not much of a barometer for any player in particular. So we'll see how much he plays. I think he's not the first starter for me. And there are going to be a lot of matches. And there are going to be matches in Carabao Cup where he'll just have to play the leadership role because no one else will. And those rotating options are important. And I think he's linked with the AS Roma. I think he will go and I think he should go for regular football because I like to see that dynamite thing happen again with Jose Mourinho and Eric. So yeah, for me, for the first two centre backs will be Alessandro Martinez and Harry Maguire. Luke Shaw will be the starting left back, but if he's not able to deal with the active defense transitions, I think Tyler Malacia will very quickly replace him he has impressed. And he is more of a cleaner slate than Luke Shaw is. He's younger. He's coming from the Eredivisie, and Eric Ten Hag clearly knew him beforehand. So I think he was on Ajax radar as well. So that tells you that this is the player that Ten Hag actually trusts. So he will implement him very quickly if Luke Shaw does not is not able to handle the transitions. So there is that. And right back, obviously, Diogo Dalot. I cannot imagine any other right back taking that place. Brandon Williams is on his way to Brighton, apparently. And even after that, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, every time he has featured, he just looks completely out of place. He just does not look up for it. And I wish I could say
He's
this
not.
otherwise.
He's
And
he's not looking comfortable on the wall from what we have seen up until now.
he's not.
That we
He's
can
not. And
say he is
he
not
has.
very comfortable on
There
the.
are limited examples of him in which he's able to get past the player, but those are just that limited examples. So we don't really
Because
have much
players
to go
don't
on.
really expect him to move forward. That's the thing
Yeah.
regarding Aaron
Yeah.
Saka. When he moves forward, it's more like okay, he's moving forward. We'll have to cover him. I think. Then the player comes and uh, then they challenge for the ball because they don't believe that he'll make a run for it, and
Yeah.
that is not the case with Diego Dalot. Diego Dalot is very offensive in his nature, and that quite fits what Ten Hag needs. Yes, we're talking about midfield now. What do you think is going to be the
Yeah.
midfield?
So my midfield, like I mentioned, first choice midfield would be Christian Eriksen in that midfield controlling role. He will be the box to. He'll try to be the box to box guy to occupy that space between Bruno Fernandes and Fred. Fred will be that number six, number eight hybrid because between McTominay and Fred is more adept at occupying defensive positions. McTominay has a tendency to always want to dart forward, and I don't. He just does not fit the defensive midfield profile. He's more of a number eight or as a third sided right centre back who plays well in transitions, who is very good with one touch passes, or if you want to take him that occasional shot, if it's a high paced game like we have seen him succeeding against Leeds, where United are going from defense to attack transitions, and if he's able to dart between the spaces, those are the things he can do very well. But and we already know that he has the right temperament to be the Manchester United player, but not everyone can be in starting 11. So he's very good to be have in the squad and as the occasional player, but I don't think he's going to be the long term feature in essentially in the kind of roles that Ten Hag is asking. So there is that, and Fred I think will be the first one because even if you when you look him playing in the preseason, he's much more adept at occupying the defensive spaces. And if Fred does not work out, then the last resort is obviously having Lisandro Martinez. And let's see if Charlie Savage and Zidane Iqbal are able to impress him enough in the Europa League to be able to get their chances in the Premier League because I really want to see them play. And Christian Eriksen, very good on the set
Your audio
pieces.
is going in and out constantly.
Okay, so am I audible now?
Yeah.
Okay, so Christian Eriksen, very good on the set pieces. Not very good at corners, though. I think he has a tendency to send the ball way too quickly to the near post, near the near post, and it doesn't work out. And but otherwise, very good dictator of the ball. He obviously was very crucial for Brentford last season. I think he'll be able to offer us more control than any other midfielder that we currently have. And I think that will free up Bruno Fernandes to do his thing a bit more. I think that will take a responsibilities a bit working from him. But from limited from what I've seen with Bruno Fernandes, I think that hero ball that he is known for. I think it is quite an important facet of his game, and
Hmm.
I don't want it to completely be taken away, which has been the case. I think I've seen enough in the Premier League to know that Ten Hag
But
is asking him has.
I think Ten Hag would want him to do that as well because that is a creative option that
Yeah,
Ten Hag would need,
yeah,
and that comes more naturally to Bruno Fernandes. But I think for him to succeed, he needs that personality type Ten Hag to tell him that you can't just waste these balls. You can't just go for it time and time and time and again and not have any consequences come your way if it fails constantly. So that is
yeah,
going to be crucial because he'll have some kind of pressure. The last season we saw he was completely free under Solskjaer to do whatever he wants, and that backfired very heavily in many games because we were left quite frustrated in many matches that why is he doing these things which are not providing anything. We know that it's a natural part of his game, but some kind of scrutiny is required. I think from the management side as well, that will help his cause, and that is what Ten Hag would bring for Bruno Fernandes game, and I think it'll I don't think it'll restrict him. I think it'll mold him into a better player with better output regarding his hero balls, what we call, what he tries to do many a times with United, at least.
So yeah, I mean, based on what we have seen so far, Ten Hag with his very hands-on instructional coaching has been able to mold Bruno Fernandes into at least doing the things that he wants to do in a basic on a basic level, and then do his things that he's very good at because he's a volume chance creator, and you want him to continue doing that, but you don't want him to overdo that. So I think from what I've seen, I trust Ten Hag to be able to get the best of Bruno in that way. And one of the recurring theme that we have seen with this 4-2-3-1 is that he's trying to create triangles on the flank on the other side of the pitch and then quickly change it on the other side. So we see all this time when the game is going on the right, you will have someone like Luke Shaw playing on the left and playing on the left, playing in the midfield. And when you have the game going on the left, you will have Diogo Dalot inverting on the right. So he tries to do that. He tries to create spaces on the other end and have players playing in triangles on one side because we've seen Rashford doing in the last game, for example, we saw Rashford, Bruno, and Luke Shaw on one side, and Sancho, Van der Beek, and Delo on other. They were comparable. They were obviously a whole difference in quality of what chances were created. But yeah, I think that is the starting of what we have seen that he wants to do. And so yeah, that is the basic start. I think Cristiano's situation put aside, Anthony Martial becomes the de facto number 9. He has impressed in preseason, and I think based limited of what we have seen Martial over the past 7 seasons, he really excels when there is very little pressure on him, and when he feels appreciated, when he feels that a manager really puts his trust in him and just doesn't really think that think that he won't be able to come good. So it's an interesting thing with Anthony Martial because his best season came at a time when Manchester United didn't really have that much expectations on him because
Hmm.
Solskjaer was just expected to get sacked any day, but Rashford, Greenwood, and Martial kept banging in the goals, and United somehow ended third in that coveted season. So that was his most productive season. So again, he has a chance to prove himself this season. So United will see what can be done, and he has done the basics things, and he has done those very right. He's making himself imposable in that midfield in that role. He's dragging the defenders out wide. He's making those runs as well, and because there are a lot more patterns, because there is actually a plan with the creative players around him as to where to go, where to move, he looks more comfortable. We'll see how things happen, and when Cristiano comes back, what happens. And as far as Donny Van de Beek is
Vaibhav is
concerned, I
asking this.
think
Vaibhav is asking CR7 in or out. Do you think CR7 will stay? That's his question, I think. He has made two separate comments.
I have a very funny feeling. This is more of a wishful thinking, but I think United will be able to come to some sort of agreement. He'll sign for Atletico Madrid. It's
I
something
don't
that I
think.
want to see happen.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
you want to see
which is what
that
I'm saying. I want this to
happen.
happen. I want to
I,
see the whole. This has making for a very good drama. No
Mhm.
matter whether they end up succeeding or not, because Atletico Madrid also, because of Barca's financial situation, the people don't really look at other clubs. But Real Madrid
Yeah.
have had their things, have had hard times as well, and so have Atletico Madrid. And their
But you
fans
have to comment Real
really
in.
don't like Ronaldo.
Yeah, the thing with Barca and Madrid is that you have to comment the way Real Madrid has been run in the past few seasons, even with significantly less TV sponsorship coming their way, even with the fans not being able to watch the games in the stadium for Madrid and Barcelona. The significant difference between the financial condition that Real Madrid are in or Barcelona are in, you have to comment the way Madrid is being run. We have our questions regarding the presidency of Real Madrid, and we have always scrutinized them. But fair play, man. Real Madrid really made it out with. I think. I don't think even a scratch came to them. They had a scare in the middle, but they came out brilliantly from whatever financial situation they were suffering from. And the thing with Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid is that their fans are really up for a fight when the two teams are against each other, and they don't like Ronaldo because he has been their the rival in chief, the destructor in chief for their Champions League campaigns, for the Champions League finals, and for a player like that to play for them, that is going to be an interesting situation. But I don't think that will happen. For me, it looks too far fetched to happen. I think this all what is happening with the meeting with United, this all points to a situation regarding Ronaldo being played regularly at United and Ten Hag fitting him in the side, because as things stand, it is looking the similar way. No other club wants him right now, and United won't let him go for free.
So yeah, let's see. Let's see what happens. That's all we can say. I
Dennis,
would say though, that Real Madrid are not completely out of their financial mess. It's not much of a mess because when you
still
compare it to
better.
Barcelona,
Still,
everything looks tickety
yeah,
boo. But
yeah.
yeah, I think they have been able to
They
manage
have
it. I
handled
think I would
they have
like.
handled their they have handled their highly waged players as well quite well, because they were able to get Rafael Varane off their books. They were able to uh, get many players like I think Asensio is off their books now.
There are a lot of
Is
players they would still want to get rid of because like
but
Alvaro
still
Adriozola, Jesus Vallejo, there is still Marco Asensio, and
Isco
what's
is
the
off their
name?
books now,
Dominican
right?
guy. Isco is gone.
Is
Isco left last season. Gareth Bale finally left last season. And who's that striker up front that they are trying to replace? I completely forgot his name.
who?
The striker that they are trying to replace. The
Luca,
striker that they're trying to.
Luca,
No.
Luca.
Luka Jovic is gone. I think Luka Jovic is
Yeah,
already
he's
gone.
gone. He's gone. He's gone.
Mariano Diaz, my bad.
Acha,
Mariano
Diaz.
Diaz is also a player that has been on their books for a long time. So there are players that they've trying to let go as quickly as they can. They have their situation, and it would have been very funny to see how they would have come up with the Mbappe money last season when they offered 200 million euros to PSG. But that is a different thing that hasn't happened, so don't really need to go
He is
into it
now
deep.
with
But the point
Florentina,
is,
right?
yes,
Jovic
yeah,
is now with Florentina, right?
Luka Jovic, I think he signed with Fiorentina. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So yeah, Madrid are not completely out of the woods, but
But they're
yeah,
still
they
not
have
as
managed
bad
it.
as
They have
FC
managed
Barcelona.
it. They
Yeah,
have
they have
managed
managed
it.
it.
Nothing is as bad as Barcelona. That's all we can say because that is a complete train. That is a complete train wreck, and
Hmm.
they are doing a
I'm
lot
saying
of gambling
regarding,
over there.
because Real Madrid are a club that wanted finances like Manchester United, but they weren't able to get the sponsorships, uh, the fan generated money from the stadiums and things like that in the past 2 seasons properly, and still they were able to make out far better than a big club, another big club in the same league. That speaks volumes of the fact that they were able to manage it quite well. Yeah, nonetheless, Dennis Alred is with us. Dennis, welcome. He says, "Sell more, buy more. Team needs to be refreshed." Well, they are looking to sell more. I think Bai is about to get off the books. Lingard is already gone. Many players are gone at this point, but that buy more regarding that, I have still questions in my mind. Bev says alternative to CR7. I think if CR7 goes and if they are able to find a situation, Anthony is the player that United will go for. Anthony almost is looking for a way out from Ajax. Ajax don't want him to go, but I think he wants to be a part of this United side under Ten Hag, as things are speculated in the media. What do you think about it, Anjuman?
Well, as far as CR7 replacement is concerned, United don't need a CR7 replacement because they did not need CR7 in
Yeah,
the first place.
yeah.
So there is that.
But
They
still,
tried signing players that could fit that mold. Brian Brobby, obviously, they wanted to go after. He went to Ajax for understandable reasons. And Gianluca Scamacca was somewhere they want to go for. They would have liked to go for. He is now off to West Ham. Kitike is someone from Haas that they could have gone for, but PSG have got their act together, so they have got him now. Christopher Nkunku is one
PSG are
player from
making
RB
a good
Leipzig
signing.
that they are trying that they might want to look at. So let's see if that ever happens because that is a very, very good player right there. So that is one player that I would like to see at United. It's not a like replacement. And Brian Robbie, if Ten Hag sticks around for a few more years, I won't be surprised to see Brian Robbie actually come to Manchester United. Because as far as that number 9 position is concerned, I was going to this when we were discussing the team system. I would like to see if Donny van de Beek could play that role. And I say this because Ten Hag actually tried this against Liverpool. When in the second half, we were essentially playing a 4-2-2-2. with Savage and Zidane Iqbal playing as the sitting midfielders. Ahmad Diallo up front alongside Donny van de Beek playing as unconventional number nines, and they were sitting a bit deep, and they were allowing the for the wingers in Tahith Chong and Anthony Alanga making those starting runs, diagonal runs into the box. So
Okay,
that
so
is
there is
something
news
also that he
regarding
tried.
uh, Anshman. There is news regarding Atletico Madrid situation. The president of Atletico Madrid, Carrezo, has come out and said, "I don't know who invented the story of Cristiano, but it's practically impossible for him to come to Atletico de Madrid."
The
So,
reason that he has to say that is one of the reasons he has to say that there has been reports of fan protest as well, of the ownership as well, because there have been quite rumbling for some time that they are not happy with the way the club's been operated, and some questions are being asked regarding how long Cholo Simeone will last, because he is unsackable regarding to what he has done for the club. But people are starting questions that to at what point we start asking questions regarding whether in the long term it's viable to keep him on board or not. So they have their own thing going on, and which is why I'm saying Cristiano going to Atleti is the kind of drama that I really want to see, just for my own gratification, because it will be fun. It will really be fun to be on the other side of it, just to put this behind us. So yeah, that is that.
uh, I think we have covered most of the things. There is. I want to talk about PSG because they are operating quite well on the market. The signing of Nordi Mukhel, I think that's how you pronounce him. Pronounce his name. I'm not quite sure. That's a very interesting signing because they're now looking for young players uh, who could shift into the first team when the time comes, and that is something you didn't really expect from PSG a year back. So that's that. I saw on Twitter a tweet of yours. You are expecting that Brendan Rodgers would be fired on the match week 17.
It was
Do
a
you really?
tongue-in-cheek comment. It was a
But
tongue-in-cheek comment because Leicester have been regressing. Last
yeah,
season, Leicester was more of a relevant season for them. They didn't really do much. Conference League was a shot for
I'm
them,
just
but they
I'm
were
just
not close
trying to
to it.
get a statement out of you regarding that.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, it was a tongue-in-cheek comment, but it's a very distant possibility because I just have a hunch, which can obviously be wrong. I don't
Hmm.
really know much, but yeah, he has these cycles, and Leicester cycle, they had their high moments when they went into the top four spots for almost twice, and they have had their good times. They won two trophies with him, so there is obviously uh, 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 Brendan Rodgers era to fondly look back to, but that bitter aftertaste of not being able to make UCL will always be there. And even Kasper Schmeichel is leaving, so there is a sense of things really ending with Leicester. I think going into this season, with Jamie Vardy is also 35 now. He's into his last year of his contract as well. So there is a lot of conversation that needs to be had regarding another refreshing of the ranks at Leicester. And just think, have a distant hunch again, could be completely wrong, that midway through the season, Brendan Rodgers could actually be one of the managers who could get replaced. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Okay, I think we'll have to end it here because that is that is going to be it. We want to talk about something else. I want to talk about Paul Pogba and him being injured without playing any football for Juventus as of now. I think he'll be out for months as things stand. Uh, Vaibhav, we'll take the last question from him. How many more signings are needed post Eriksen? Uh, how many more? We need 10 more signings, as Ragnick said, but I don't think that will happen. At least, I think two signings, two signings post Ericsson. I think because I want this whole Cristiano Ronaldo situation to end. I wanted him to succeed at United as a fan, as a fairy tale ending because I wanted to see a happy end to that. But I don't think that is going to happen. So I don't wish him to stay another season, man. It's it's too long and it will generate too much attention on United because we don't want that much attention on United, which CR7 brings. So that's that from my side. How many signings do you think United need post this Ericsson announcement? Martinez is done, considering that.
How many signings do United need? They need 10, like you said. How many signings United should go for? Not more than two. Because
Yeah,
again, to be perfectly realistic, you do not build your squads in one transfer window. It takes
yeah,
years. and we have already got an adequate amount of signings that should be brought into the team. And if we are to go for like two more signings after this, if it's not going to be Frankie De Jong, that I don't really want to bother ourselves with another midfielder. I would
You,
much rather, yeah, I
I
would
want
much
us to
rather
hack
say
Yuri Tielemans. If Frankie doesn't happen, I want us to hack Yuri Tielemans' transfer to Arsenal. I don't want them to get him.
it would be funny. Would be funny. I'm not sure how rational it would be on our part, but okay, never mind. That would be another improving midfielder. So
That will
I'm all
be
for it.
that will be funny, and
It will be
you'll have
fun. Fun.
some.
It will be funny. Yes, it will be funny.
Uh,
I won't. I don't deny
you'll
that.
have
But
some.
who's
We'll
not
have
building for
something
the
over
future?
Arsenal fans, so that is always something great.
But yeah, but we already have Lisandro Martinez, don't we?
Yeah, but one more signing that will give us the Barcelona thing that they have over Chelsea right now. Because that shit is crazy. That shit is crazy. Barcelona have pulled up on Chelsea and taken everything right under their nose. It's unbelievable at some point. They took Rafinha. Now they are almost done with the Conde deal. They have uh, one more signing they did, no? Dembele was coming to Chelsea at one point. They again had a deal with him, and one more player. I'm not remembering who. Who else did Barcelona sign? Who was connected to Chelsea?
Don't know. They are also going for Cesar Azpilicueta, so that would be fun if they end up
Yeah,
getting him.
Espelicueta and also Alonso.
Marcos Alonso as well. There is, I see the sense in Azpilicueta signing. I don't see the sense of Marcos Alonso, but okay, that's a different
मतलब
thing.
वो तो बस फिर मुंह पे मूतने वाली बात हो गई कि अब वी आर जस्ट रेडी टू पिस ऑन यू वी डोंट रियली केयर अबाउट फुटबॉल एट दिस पॉइंट वी जस्ट वांट टू शो यू दैट यू आर बीनीथ अस ये वही है मतलब ये तो कोई फर्क भी नहीं पड़ रहा अब दे आर जस्ट डूइंग एनीथिंग दे वांट एंड प्लेयर्स आर आल्सो गोइंग दैट वे इट डजंट मेक एनी सेंस इन माय हेड
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like Barca still have that attraction. Barca and Real Madrid will continue having that they are still at the top of the football charts. Like that is the end game for every player. That if you reach that club, you have made it. And in that, the recent history of both the clubs not being the absolute best doesn't really matter because Real Madrid always have the trophies and Barca always have the trophies, and they both of them have the glory and the culture. So
Barca don't really have the trophies as of recent seasons. But Real Madrid still have the Champions League to show off. But
I
Barcelona
think
have been struggling.
last season was the first proper season that Barca did not win a trophy because even in the season before
But
that they won Copa del Rey.
they Copa del Rey. Come on, do you consider that to be the thing that Barcelona really
It,
look forward
no,
to?
they won't take pride in, but it is a trophy. I'm just
But
saying.
yeah, that's a good trophy. I'm not dissing on the trophy. It's just that when players come to Barcelona, they don't really come to fight for Copa del Rey. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. But it's still, for the time being, Barca still consider big time, which is why one thing about the Frankie De Jong deal that I keep pointing out is if they don't pay, which I've read recently, I've been reading a lot of lawyer comments on Twitter.
Hmm.
They are also pointing out that there are perfectly legal situations in which Barca don't really have to pay him.
Hmm.
But I would still look at the whole situation, and I wonder how many players would actually look at this and start to think that okay, maybe we don't want to stick around because as fanciful as it is to be at Barca, living at Barcelona and playing for Barca,
It's
there is a
also the
thing that
I think there's a
the
attraction
treatment they
regarding
are
the
getting,
city as well. I think there's a
like
attraction regarding the city as well. That's why players also want to come to Barcelona. But the money thing is now getting quite intense at this point. And you are saying that the lawyers don't think there is a case to be made regarding Frankie De Jong and regarding.
like I've read situations that in case of wage deferral, if it is mentioned in very specific terms that he would be paid his wages at a later time down the line, and if he's told before that there is a possibility that Barca don't really need to pay him, and
They
if that
obviously they don't.
happens,
It's also about the goodwill. I don't think it's more about them needing to pay the player. It's more of the fact that Frankie De Jong, out of the goodness of his heart, uh, had his wages deferred to a later year so that Barcelona could get their finances in check and he could get paid because he wanted the team to succeed. He wanted to stay, and now Barcelona, because they see him as an asset, not as a player. They want to sell him, get the money out of him, and I think it also portrays a very bad light on Barcelona and shows them in a very poor right? Which their fans don't really want, because their fans are really pissed on Twitter that people are pointing fingers at Barcelona not paying players and still signing players. And I think it's because even as United fans, we critique United the most. I think the most regarding their financial doings, how they operate as a club, and I I found it very hypocritical on Barca fans' part that they were willing to defend the club's uh, want to not pay Frenkie De Jong, not pay the 100 million they 30 million odd they are to pay to PK, and the fans are intensely just defending that, and I find a problem with that. There is some comments with Avi Nene. Avi Nene says Barca should go for Ronaldo now. That's not going to happen. Jesse says hi, hello, Jesse. And Avi Nene says FDJ is ready to play as a CB at Barca, but don't want to join United. I don't think that's real. That's bullshit. It's just that Frankie De Jong wants to get paid and he wants to play for Barcelona. Just Javi, him playing Frankie at the centre back position is a sign of Xavi saying you should go to some other club. We are not going to let you stay comfortably here and play your natural
I
game.
would like to see him play at centre back though. Would make a very good progressive centre back. But yeah.
But that's uh, come on, Anshuman. You have to see see what for what it is. I don't think Xavi means
I'm
that he
not. I'm
wants.
not questioning it. I'm definitely more than happy to point out the. I've even brought this up in the previous episode that it sets a very dangerous precedent for Barcelona because a lot of what they're doing is based on the goodwill of the players that they're asking them to
Mm,
take these wage deferrals. The wage cuts that the Catalan players are doing, they're doing because look, it is a politically embroiled club and they will
mm,
do what they can for their home, as would any
mm,
one of us. But a lot
mm,
of players who are not from the entorno of Barcelona. They
mm,
are sticking there because it is Barcelona, and deferred money is still a lot of money, and legally they will be paid, is what they are told. But
mm.
the treatment that I think Frankie is getting, I don't think players would be unbeknownst to it. They will be seeing it
Do you
for what
think?
it
Do
is.
you for what I think will happen with Frankie De Jong? I think it will go to the transfer deadline day, and they'll come to a solution because I don't see Barcelona not getting the 85 odd millions they are to get from United for Frenkie De Jong. They can't survive with the signings that they have made without this 85 million deal. I don't think in any way, shape, or form, I don't think that will happen. And they'll have to pay some kind of money for Frankie to sign on the dotted line. And I think it'll be a huge drama when that happens. What do you think about it?
I would
Don't you
like to
think?
see Barca not being able to play their players because they are not registered. I would like that. I would absolutely enjoy that. But I think they'll be able to figure something out because last season also they had all
Yeah,
these
the
players
preseason also.
that weren't registered. So yeah,
Hmm.
let's see. So all we can say.
What do you think regarding this, the whole centre back thing? Do you think this is necessary? Do you think this is just Xavi saying you should make a move now? It's done for you at Barca.
Yeah, I mean that is what they are trying to do because, like I said, Barca cannot publicly admit that okay, we want him gone. So they
Hmm.
are playing it because they also understand to a certain degree the repercussions that could have. Because if all
Hmm.
these players whose goodwill they are relying on, if they are just going
Hmm.
to turn back and say, okay, you can go now, you can go, and you have to go, then
Hmm.
the players could actually create a lot of problem for Barca, and Barca are in all sorts of problems. So they need solutions, not more problems. So I think this is why they are trying to be as delicate about Frenkie de Jong as they can. Laporta in his last interview said, "Look, he's not for sale," and so there is that. They are going to publicly say that players are not for sale, but they will try to move on as many as they can. They let Philip Coutinho go for 20 million for a reason. So
Yeah.
they need to get let these players off the leash. They need to let these players go, and so it needs to
What do you
happen.
think?
And
What do you think? Because I don't want to talk about Frenkie De Jong time and again. But I guess we'll have to because I don't think it is coming to an end before the transfer deadline day. What do you think will happen with this whole Frankie De Jong thing? Do you think United would let this go and then join in later on? What is going to happen with this whole thing? What do you think will
I
happen?
don't think I have a weird feeling that United are not going to let him go. United are going to haggle as long as they can, and we are going to
Hmm.
miss out on getting another midfielder. And this
Hmm.
is what's going to happen. We are going to be stuck with what we have. And I'm
The
worried about
basic
it
blueprint
because
that United have followed in the past few transfer windows.
yeah, unless it's Cristiano Ronaldo, United wait 18 months to sign the player. We know that. We know that. So that's what we are going to do. And I think Barca. I want to see how Barca play out because I honestly they want to sell the player, but they won't
Weber is
admit it.
saying Weber is saying CR7 to FDJ swap. They are not able to pay 17 million for Frankie De Jong's salary. Do you think they'll be able to pay the CR7 salary? No way, shape, or form they are paying that.
I mean, they have bought a lot of players that they cannot afford. So yeah, let's see. Let's see.
On a very significantly low wages. Dembele has reduced his wages. That was astonishing for me. A player like Dembele,
Yeah,
I'm like,
of course he
okay.
did. Of course he did. Because no, because Xavi did actually a very good job getting him back into the team because there's what that Machuel Money, the sporting director, he publicly came out and said that in January that Usman Dembele will not play for the club again, and then
Yeah,
Xavi did not include him into the squad in that
yeah.
whole transfer window. And then when that
Uh,
was gone, he slowly reintegrated him into the squad setup, told him that he was crucial to his plans and everything, and made him quite a crucial player towards the end. So if he sticks around, if injuries are not an issue, I think Usman Dembele would quite turn out to be quite a decent asset for Xavi. So I think he's impressed personally by what Xavi has been able to tell him. Xavi obviously is crucial in a lot of these discussions. He's
mm,
playing it as diplomatically as he can, and even
mm.
Frenkie De Jong, I think he's just uh, he has come out and said that I don't send messages, but I think if you're smart enough, you know to take it for what it is. Frenkie De Jong is essentially being told since the end of last season. It's not only a this season thing. Even last season, when Pedri, Gavi, and Nico Gonzalez they all arrived at the scene,
I
Frenkie
think
De Jong's
it's more
inclusion
the
reduced.
the whole Frankie De Jong thing. I think Barca want him off their wages for this season as well because they have players with the similar attributes associated coming from the academy, and they don't really think that Frankie De Jong is an essential player for them that they'll absolutely want for the season. That's one of the reasons why they consider this 85 million deal a great deal for them because he
Yeah.
signed for them, I think, for 80 odd millions from Ajax.
Mhm. But that's the thing, right? He doesn't want to go. They want him to go, and United want him to come. So yeah, it will. It's
It's
complicated,
going
and
to last.
we
It's
will
going
have
to
to see.
last for a while.
It is
I
going to
think that's
last.
that.
It's not ending.
I think that's that. We have talked for a lot of for a lot of topics, and for a long while. It's more than 1 hour 12 minutes now. I think we'll take our leave at this point. We'll come back again really soon, hopefully sooner than last time, and we'll talk more about Manchester United, the signings. Hopefully, Lisandro Martinez will also be announced later in the day, and we'll be able to talk about him as well because we talked about Eriksen. They both came in the similar car, I think, to Carrington today, as images are to
Yeah,
be
they did.
believed. Yeah, so I think he's also to be announced officially in a red shirt. So we'll talk about that as well. Hopefully, there'll be some changes. We'll be able to talk about Ronaldo or Frankie. We'll see. We'll see how things stand because right now, as things stand, United are in for a troubled time ahead, especially considering the transfer market operations. The footballing things, they stand quite decent, at least that we can say about United. That's it from us. Me, Paritosh Joshi, and Anshuman signing off for One United. See you guys again really soon. Thank you for sticking with us. Good night.